What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to give myself a random 10-minute drawing challenge. I've got my pencils sharpened and ready, and the timer will start now. I didn't have a random way of really selecting a prompt for this. I just knew that it is spooky season. We are close to Halloween, so I thought it would be fun to draw my version of Dracula. One of the questions I get asked pretty often is how to draw new school, how I draw new school. This is just kind of the way I draw. So I thought maybe just showing a real-time drawing might help and be the best way to show you guys how I come up with the characters and what I do. Now, I also get asked if I do warm-ups, any kind of warm-up sketching before I start doing a more finalized sketch. This kind of is a warm-up. I don't really do warm-ups. I just kind of think in my head about how I want things to be executed, where shapes are going to go, maybe how I plan to fit a character on a page. For instance, for this, I did not want to go crazy, so I figured I'd just kind of focus on the head. I didn't want to start adding objects or hands or anything that I know might throw me off when I'm trying to do something more so for just speed, not necessarily accuracy. And focusing on speed, I think that that is just a great way to kind of be loose with your art, not so like structured. I think it's more important to just let ideas flow on the page every once in a while. Just see what comes up. Maybe set yourself a timer like I did and just, limit yourself so that it's almost like Bob Ross says, those happy accidents will happen. You will start to get more of a flow, at least for me anyways. Now, one thing I will point out that helps me get a little looser while sketching and create more of a flow is you'll see the way I hold a pencil changes from me loosely mapping things out to when I'm going in and trying to get finer details. I'm kind of just lightly pinching the pencil, but you'll see that my entire form of how I hold the pencil changes completely throughout this drawing. Now, I've never utilized pastel or charcoal since like high school, and I probably should because I feel like the way that I would hold pastel or charcoal would be very similar to this and help me get my loose concepts onto the page. But I just thought, let's grab pencil, let's grab something I'm familiar with, see how fast I can map things out. In the future, if you guys enjoy seeing this being done in real time, one thing I will say is I'd like to see a little bit of a longer timer, maybe 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, just to get a more finalized look to the character. And with that being said, I'm also wondering if there's better supplies to create the character with. Maybe I should use like quick markers or something to just kind of map in the definition enough. I don't want like a fully rendered end result, but I want something a little more finalized with maybe some smoother shading that I'm used to. So let's talk about my process a little bit here. You could see that I mapped everything out very, very lightly with a lighter tone of red. And now I'm going in and kind of just giving the character a little more form with some line with the darker tone of red. But I'm also adding a little bit of shading with that darker red and just really trying to almost eliminate those sketch lines so that your focus is on the darker red lines rather than the lighter lines. I always enjoy going in with a lighter tone first because what I feel it gives me is more options. And what I mean by that is I could draw a bunch of different lighter lines and just pick which one I'm going to use. For instance, how far down is the chin going to go? I may have even wanted to see this stretched even further. I think it's kind of funny that there's almost like a kind of like this monkey mouth to him. It's kind of like puffed around his upper lip, like under the nose there. There's like this big stretched long puff. And I kind of want my characters to be goofy. I don't need them to look like anything specific. These are all invented from my head. I am not looking at any reference. If you see anything that you might recognize, it could be something that subliminally stayed with you. Like, for instance, for me, the more I work on this, I'm looking at these big like bat ears that I'm trying to add. And even those kind of have like a monkey feel to them because monkeys, like when they're cartoons, they typically have these ginormous ears. But for me, I'm kind of thinking of like Count Chocula from the cereal over all the years as being a kid eating cereals and going down the cereal aisle, just being, amused by all the characters on the boxes. It's always fun for me to see what's affected my work over the years. Was there something I did see in my youth that just stuck with me? Is there a reason why I draw things the way I do? And the older I get, the more I look back at it, and I enjoy seeing, where I might have gotten something from or think more about it. And I love that it affects my work now. Now, I want to be clear that I never want to steal anything. It's okay to be influenced and kind of change things. So I'm not going to reference Count Chocula before drawing this. I am just knowing in the back of my head vaguely what Count Chocula looks like. And as I'm executing this, I'm just being aware that, okay, this is kind of entertaining and funny to me that it's starting to look a little bit like Count Chocula. But again, it's my version of Dracula. This is just kind of what happened, where it goes, how it looks, and I had a lot of fun doing this. Okay, so back to a bit of my process. You could see here I'm going in with a white color pencil just to add some highlights. I wanted to add a little bit of shading and dimension to this, so you can see I went in with the darker red and added some shadows and shading. So why not go in with some highlights? That is why I grabbed the white color pencil. And now at this point, you'll see that I'm going in with a mid-tone of red. And this is one of those reasons why I wish maybe I had a little more time. Now, this is the 10-minute challenge, but in comparison, I do want to show you a piece that I did earlier in the week. Here's the difference between my 10-minute challenge and something that took me a couple hours. Both of these pieces were done with the same color pencil on tone paper. I enjoy the tone paper because you can add white, and I feel like you get a little more dimension rather than just having white paper. You now have a mid-tone, and then you can add white to it so that you have truer highlights. On a random side note, ignore the upper left character. That is a completed character that I did with spray paint recently. I just needed something to block my phone. I was using my phone as a timer, but there was a bunch of notifications coming through and the screen kept going off. So I figured, you know what, let's just throw something entertaining up there. But you could also see the difference between how I sketch and a finished product from me, a more finalized character. There is a recent video on me creating this character as well as some graffiti. This was done at a graffiti jam. So if you guys want to watch that video, it is available to see. If you happen to be an artist yourself watching, let me know. Is this something that you guys have ever done? Do you tend to time yourself? Is that something that matters to you? And if you have, what do you use for supplies? In the future, as I said before, I'm thinking maybe markers. It'd probably work a little faster and smoother, but I don't know yet. This is the first time I've tried this, really. I've always tried to draw fast and loose and just get a quick idea executed on the page, but I've never actually set a timer. I did really enjoy doing this, and I'd like to do this more. So if you enjoyed watching this, please let me know in the comments. Do you guys want to see more of this? It's something that I'd be interested in doing. I could definitely see me taking this character and then evolving it and putting it onto a wall, spray painting it, maybe painting it on a canvas. But let me know, is this something that you'd like to see me do more often, some real-time drawing? You could see how much this character evolved from start to finish by just that very light red, loose sketch to me kind of trying to just define it now. I'm taking the spare moments that I have left to add some thicker line weight and just kind of really define certain areas and make them pop out more than others. And as we approach our final minute, I want to give a huge thank you to all of my paid Patreon members. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for supporting. If anyone watching at home would like to support as well, I will leave a link to my Patreon in the description of this video. Another way to help support, of course, is to check out my website, kbuart.com. I've got plenty of merch available, from shirts to original artwork. I've got prints, stickers. I've got a coloring book now. There's plenty more than what's being shown here, so be sure to check it out and maybe pick yourself up something. All right, less than 30 seconds left on the timer. I had an absolute blast creating this character. I would love to do this again. Of course, if you enjoyed watching this, let me know in the comments. Maybe next time I could take requests as to what I'm gonna draw. And just seconds remaining. Just wanted to make sure I signed it after the 10 minutes were complete. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. And here it is, the final outcome.